Super Doom. Super Doom is what happens when capitalism gets its hands on Superman and decides he should be a walking apocalypse. On Earth 45, Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen had a dream to create the ultimate hero through super science. A living idea, a thought brought to life. They called it Superman, a symbol meant to save their world. Then they made one fatal mistake. They sold the rights. Enter Overcore, a mega corporation that doesn't do heroic. They twisted the concept into a killer franchise, stripping away hope and replacing it with mindless destruction. The result is Super Doom, a nightmare in red and blue, ripping through his own planet before setting his sights on the multiverse. Super Doom didn't fight for justice. He annihilated competition. Any Superman standing in his way? Dead. Any world trying to resist? Crushed. But he didn't just conquer. He erased, making sure only his version of the idea remained. But when he arrived on Earth 23, he ran into someone who wouldn't fold. President Superman Calvin Ellis. The Man of Steel, but with political experience and superpowers. Even white supremacist Lex Luthor realized how bad things were and teamed up with Calvin to stop him. And if Lex Luthor is willing to work with Superman, then you know it's bad. In the end, Super Doom was defeated and then erased, stranded between universes where even corporate interference couldn't save him. A monster born from profit-driven cynicism, taken down by the very thing he tried to destroy, a real Superman. Lesson learned? Never let a corporation rebrand your superhero. Superboy Prime. Superboy Prime started out as a hero, but patience was never his strong suit. After helping defeat the Anti-Monitor, he found himself trapped in a paradise dimension, alongside Earth 2 Superman and Alexander Luthor. Sounds nice, right? Well, not for Superboy Prime. Watching the universe move on without him drove him insane. And instead of picking up a hobby, he decided to punch reality itself. Literally, causing fractures in the multiverse and breaking into modern continuity. Unlike other Kryptonians at the time, Superboy Prime was a relic of DC's Silver Age, meaning he was absurdly overpowered. He didn't just fly, he rewrote existence. He didn't just fight, he annihilated entire superhero teams. And when he built himself solar-powered armor using anti-monitor tech, he became an unstoppable force with a god complex. His grand plan is to fix reality by mass murdering anyone who didn't fit his idea of perfection. And just when you think he couldn't get any worse, he joins the Sinestro Corps, wielding a yellow power ring and racking up one of the highest body counts in DC history. Oh, and he kills the Anti-Monitor again. Superboy Prime is the ultimate fanboy turned villain, a guy who wanted to be the greatest hero but couldn't handle not being the only one. Absolute Power Jonathan Kent. Jonathan Kent has always been seen as the best of both his parents. The hope and strength of Superman mixed with the compassion and determination of Lois Lane. But in Absolute Power, that hopeful future gets ripped away, and John becomes something far more terrifying. Amanda Waller has spent that evening proving she's playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. Using an army of Amazo androids, she's stolen the abilities of Earth's mightiest champions. But with John, she took a different approach. Instead of stripping him of his Kryptonian powers, she merged him with the sinister tech of the Brainiac Queen. The result is a corrupted Superman under her control, one with all his abilities intact, but none of his free will. What makes this version of John so unnerving is the unsettling glimpses of his former self peeking through. He's not some mindless puppet. Deep down, there's still part of him trapped inside, powerless to stop what he's doing. And when you take a hero as pure as John Kent and twist him into a weapon, it's kind of heartbreaking. Deceased Superman. Superman is already one of the most dangerous beings in the universe. Now imagine him as an uncontrollable, mindless zombie. Yeah, that's the horror show Deceased gave us. It all started when Darkseid, in his endless quest for ultimate power, kidnapped Cyborg and used him to unleash the anti-life equation. But for once, Darkseid bit off more than he could chew. The equation mutated into a horrific technovirus that consumed everything, including its own creator. And when the infection reached Earth, well, let's just say things got real bad real fast. Even Superman, Earth's greatest protector, wasn't immune. When the virus took hold of him, it stripped away his mind but left all his raw power. The result is an unstoppable, fuel-raged Kryptonian tearing through the world with zero restraint. This wasn't some alternate reality evil Superman. This was Clark Kent, twisted into something unrecognizable. Despite the chaos, hope wasn't completely lost. Eventually, Superman was cured, but not before leaving a trail of devastation in his wake. Lex Luthor Superman. Lex Luthor became Superman in the kind of twist that feels inevitable. The man who spent his entire life trying to outshine the Man of Steel finally gets his shot at wearing the cape. And in true Lex fashion, he does it in the most over-the-top way possible. Decked out in a high-tech battlesuit with a glowing S on his chest because subtlety isn't in his vocabulary, after Superman's death in DC Rebirth, Lex decided he was the only one qualified to carry on the legacy. He even joined the Justice League, proving that for a brief moment, he might have actually believed he could be a hero. But this is Lex Luthor we're talking about. His heroic turn wasn't about truth and justice. It was about proving once and for all that he was superior to Superman. Of course, things didn't go smoothly. His arrogance led to conflicts with Superwoman. Lex's time as Superman wasn't about being a savior. It was about being a bad man trying, and failing, to be good. And in the end, the biggest lesson here, no matter how much power he steals, borrows, or builds, Lex Luthor will never be Superman. Brutal. Superman's supposed to be the beacon of hope, but brutal? He's more like a walking nightmare in a cape. Created by Darkseid in Earth 2 issue number 14, Brutal was just as powerful as Superman. Darkseid painstakingly rebuilt him, giving him all of Kal-El's abilities and even his memories, except for the ones tied to his time with Earth 2's other Superman, Val-Zod. The result is a Kryptonian war machine with none of Clark Kent's morality and all of his strength. At first, Brutal served as Darkseid's unstoppable weapon, tearing through the heroes of Earth 2, the so-called wonders of the world without mercy. But when Steppenwolf declared himself ruler of Earth instead of Darkseid, Brutal made his stance very clear. No grand speeches, no drawn-out battle, just heat vision straight through Steppenwolf's body, instantly vaporizing him. That's the kind of enforcer Brutal was. For the moment, he became Earth's ultimate terror, replacing Superman in the public eye, but embodying everything he stood against. He crushed heroes, wiped out resistance, and cemented Darkseid's dominance. Brutal is what happens when absolute power serves absolute evil. Last Son Superman. The story of Superman's arrival on Earth is one of hope. A baby sent from a dying world, raised by kind-hearted farmers, destined to become a hero. But in the dark multiverse, that story gets rewritten into a nightmare. Thanks to the Batman Who Laughs, Kal-El's rocket didn't just crash land, it passed through a storm of cosmic radiation that rewired him on a biological level. Instead of drawing power from the sun like the Superman we know, this version, dubbed the Last Son or Kill All, developed an endless, insatiable hunger like he hasn't eaten Snickers his entire life. And unlike normal Kryptonians, he didn't just grow stronger in sunlight, he consumed everything in his path. Gone was the noble protector raised by the Kents. Instead, the world got a monster in the shape of Superman. His appetite had no limits. His power dwarfed anything the Justice League had ever faced. He didn't just defeat enemies, he devoured them, absorbing their energy and leaving nothing behind. Stopping him is almost impossible. He wasn't just faster, stronger, and more durable, he needed to consume, making him relentless. Even the most powerful heroes couldn't stand against him. In the end, the hope that Superman was meant to represent is all gone. And the worst part, he wasn't some alien warlord or interdimensional conqueror, he was still Clark Kent, just twisted into something unrecognizable. A Superman who doesn't protect, doesn't inspire, and doesn't stop. Just an endless hunger wrapped in the colors of a fallen hero. Injustice Superman. The Injustice universe gave us a Superman who thought he was saving the world. It all started when the Joker pulled off his most horrific scheme yet. Using a mix of kryptonite-laced fear toxin, he tricked Superman into killing Lois Lane and their unborn child. As if that wasn't enough, Joker also wired her heartbeat to a nuke, so the moment she died, Metropolis went up in flames. And just like that, Superman lost everything in a single instant. What happened next was brutal. Superman snapped. Literally. He put his fist through Joker's chest, making the start of his descent from hero to dictator. At first, it was about making sure no one else suffered like he did, but soon his justice became a global regime of fear. Descendants were executed, heroes became enemies, and anyone who challenged him was either forced into submission or taken off the board permanently. What makes Injustice Superman so terrifying isn't just his power, it's that in his mind, he's still a good guy. He's not ruling for personal gain, he truly believes the world needs him in control. And when Superman believes in something, there's not much that can stop him. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the craziest corners of the comic book world. Which evil Superman variant do you think is the most dangerous? Let us know in the comments. And if we missed one, feel free to remind us, just don't punch reality over it.